I'm Jessica Harthcock. I am the co-founder and CEO of Utilize Health, a web platform that matches patients with life-altering conditions and injuries to the care that they need. So I guess Utilize Health, the inspiration for it really began more than 10 years ago. I was in high school, showing my age, and I took pride that I was pretty good in athletics. I played soccer, danced competitively, and dove on the varsity springboard diving team. And so one evening I was cross-training. I was doing gymnastics, and I was doing a front double tuck with a layout twist. Sounds complicated, but it's not that bad. And so I went up, and the air came down, and I heard a little crunch, because I landed right here on my head. Yeah, I know, it sucked. And I was paralyzed. And so in that instant, I knew, I felt it, my whole body went numb. And my injury was pretty severe. Doctors said that I would never recover, I would never walk again. I had suffered a spinal cord injury to my thoracic and cervical vertebra. Most of the damage was done in the thoracic area. And so instead of spending that summer before my senior year in high school, you know, hanging out with friends and laying by the pool, I spent that summer in rehab, learning how to use a wheelchair, doing really simple things, again, like how to get dressed. And suddenly putting on a pair of socks became really challenging. Oh, there's me. And so, you know, that truly opened my eyes to what, well, I'm going too fast. That really made me think, like, wow, you know, this whole experience is changing. And so my parents and I, we traveled across the United States because we wanted second, third, fourth, 10th opinions. We went to facilities like Mayo Clinic, Vanderbilt, facilities in Louisville, Chicago, and even Miami. And unfortunately, my prognosis remained the same. I wouldn't recover, and I would never walk again. I vividly remember this doctor at this world-renowned facility. He looked me square in the eye, and he said, "You need to accept your lot in life and move on." Y'all, I was crushed. And quite frankly, I was kind of pissed because I just wanted something to try. I understood the severity of my diagnosis, but I wanted something to just try. And so for the next several years, that's exactly what I did. I traveled to facilities all across the country. I lived in hotels, and I did rehab for years, often 7 days a week, and for countless hours a day. I did rehab. This right here is actually one of the machines that I was on for quite some time. And slowly but surely, I saw change. So about 1 year and 8 months into therapy, I got a muscle twitch in my right thigh. This was huge. This muscle twitch, I was so proud of it. If you blinked, you would literally miss it. I'd be like, "Watch my new trick." And someone would blink, and I'd be like, "You missed it." So, I know, it was so sad. And so this muscle twitch slowly turned into a muscle contraction, and then it turned into a leg lift, and then a controlled leg lift. And eventually I gained more control over my abdominals, and I learned to sit up by myself, which was huge from a quality of life perspective. And then I learned to stand. And nearly 3 years after my accident, I could step. You know, I had on big leg braces and electrical stimulation, and so I had to wean myself off that. And so I worked harder than ever, still doing rehab, and was able to slowly wean myself off the leg braces. And then I went to a walker. And then I went to 2 forearm crutches, and then just down to 1. And today, I'm 10 years post-injury, and even though I don't have any feeling from here down, T3 down, I don't feel anything, I can still walk. And I walk completely unassisted. I do, however, have the help of a service dog, typically. He's not here. This is our first time in San Francisco, so I brought my service husband with me. It's pretty good. And so throughout this journey, you know, this 10-year process, I kind of had 3 epiphanies, so to speak. And first really lies with the patients. Patients would contact me from all across the country, patients that I had never met, and they'd ask me for help. They'd say, you know, "You don't know me, but my aunts, brothers, cousins, twice removed, told me to contact you that you might be able to help me." And so I'd listen to their story, and we'd swap. And I was able to help them get to different types of rehab. And then some patients that contacted me, they knew exactly what type of therapy they wanted to do. they knew exactly what type of equipment they wanted to get on. And I had become friends with equipment manufacturers in the industry. And so I'd call them up and say, hey, I've got another patient. Can you please help me, get to this piece of equipment? And we would work together on that. For patients, these patients that would contact me, some of them didn't even have spinal cord injuries. Could be strokes, some of them autism, different types of cancer, but we all shared this common thread. And that was when someone is injured or diagnosed with something life-altering, they receive really, really, really great acute care, but then after post-acute, there's nothing for them. And so this graphic is a graphic I like to show that illustrates the process of post-acute care. As you can see, it's a mess. It's completely fragmented, disconjointed, very frustrating from a patient point of view. It took me over 2 years to navigate this process, and unfortunately, most patients never do. They never make it. In addition to the patient side of things, I saw a problem with facilities, and that was that these incredible facilities, some of them were small, but they were mighty, and they would have some of the latest and greatest equipment and therapy techniques, but often I'd be the only patient there. And that was baffling to me because for me, this was a hidden gem. Why didn't the rest of the world know about it? And you're seeing a ton of specialty rehab facilities pop up all over the country today. And then finally, my last kind of aha conclusion was that with each milestone that I hit in my recovery, sitting, standing, and then eventually walking, I had greatly reduced and/or eliminated secondary health concerns like pressure sores, low bone density, and the risk of blood clots. And it's no secret that patients with neurological conditions cost 12 times more to care for than that of an average American. We're very expensive to care for. And with my recovery, I will save my payer, it's estimated that I'll save my payer, over $750,000 over the course of my lifetime. That's substantial for one patient. So in summary, we have a lack of patient knowledge, which leads to low utilization and ultimately lost revenue for providers. But there's a huge opportunity to improve the quality of life for these patients and reduce medical concerns. And this is exactly how Utilize Health was born. As I mentioned, Utilize Health is a web platform that matches patients to the care that they need so patients can maximize their potential for recovery. This is kind of what our platform looks like. It's that messy graphic that I showed you earlier, we've completely streamlined that process for patients. Patients go to our website, we do all the work for them. They fill out an information profile and a health questionnaire. They're then matched instantly to facilities and therapies that can help them. So we help patients learn about available treatment options, locate facilities with those treatment options, and engage directly with that facility by having them schedule an appointment on our platform. We've made it really easy. We recently, earlier this year, we started a pilot, and we manually matched the first 100 patients that contacted us. It was a bit daunting because we didn't choose a region. We were like, let's just go with the entire United States because that won't be hard at all for a startup. And the results were absolutely fantastic. So one of my favorite accolades comes from a mom. She has a 7-year-old son with a brain injury. And sometimes you never hear from these patients again, but she called me about 3 months later, and I had no idea who was on the phone. I just heard crying. And she said, my son stood for the first time today. Thank you. And I think that illustrates, the power of what we're doing. These 100 patients were manually matched, which means that we looked at spreadsheets and paper databases. Manually matching takes about 7 to 10 days, sometimes longer if that patient is in a rural area. When we automate that matching process, the process will literally take a second, the click of a button. And so here's my shameless plug of the day. Right now, we are currently raising money to automate that matching process because word has gotten out, and we have patients signing up every day for our service, and they're all being waitlisted. And so we're raising funds on Indiegogo to match that process. Check it out. Share it on Facebook. You never know who will be able to benefit from our services. Right now, we're solely focused in neuro. In the neuro population, we chose that because we're starting with what we know best. And we focus on 6 different disabilities: spinal cord injury, stroke, brain injury, patients with MS, MD, and CP. And together that encompasses more than 11 million patients in the United States. We do have plans to grow into other populations such as autism and different types of cancer in the near future. So to close, I wanted to share this video of my journey to recovery with you, because I wanted you to see that this is what recovery looks like for someone that was told no, never, and can't an awful lot. My recovery may seem atypical, but how do we know? Because patients are never given the option to try. And so at Utilize Health, that's exactly what we're doing. We're giving patients the information and the knowledge so they can make educated and informed decisions about their care. We're empowering patients to take action in their healthcare journey and to make those informed decisions so they have the power. Thank you for letting me share my story.